Today I wanted to talk about Lost Ark. I've been playing recently. I started about a week ago, and my experience of the game has been great so far, and it really kind of broke down the way I think about video games and marketing, kind of entirely. And really, I think a lot of that comes down to our experience with the game versus our perception of the game. And then I can throw exposure of the game as well in there, but that's a bit of an aside. And what I mean by that is I heard about Lost Ark. I heard people say it has the best combat system. I heard people say it was very grindy, it was pay to win. At the end of the day, I didn't even know that Lost Ark was a top-down Diablo-style combat game. That's how little exposure I actually had to the game just from the kind of hearsay that I had. And this comes from someone who has played a lot of MMOs. I've played RuneScape. When I started playing RuneScape when I was 10 years old. I'm in my 30s now. I play old school RuneScape to this day. EverQuest 1, EverQuest 2, Ultima, EVE Online, Star Wars Galaxies, World of Warcraft, City of Heroes, Conquer Online, which Lost Ark reminds me a lot of. I recently got into Throne and Liberty. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that I've been around the block when it comes to MMOs and video games in general. And one of the things that's really struck me about Lost Ark is the attention to detail, just the overall design of the game. There's a lot of different systems at play, and they work together in a very cohesive way. To me, I guess there's little details that would only be present when you have people that care. And a lot of that's going to be on the art team, but really the game has impressed me. And one of the examples I gave is, I was walking through a cathedral or a church, and I'm just looking at the water on the stairs, and you can see the reflection of the stained glass or the painted ceiling above, so you can tell you're in this entirely 3D environment. Even though you're never looking at the ceiling in the scene, that ceiling is still there being rendered so that it can reflect on the surfaces that you're walking on. And they're doing all of this while the game still runs at 144 frames per second on my old ass machine. So there's a lot of things that really impressed me here, and I wondered, why was it that everyone had such a negative impression of this game? And I started looking for kind of guides to get into it, and the only guide content I could find that was relevant to my current experience was content from 3 years ago, because I'm trying to level organically, and all of the videos that are out exist today talk about using this pass, this boost, this express pass of some kind. So I guess when you're hearing my thoughts about the game, I want you to understand that this comes from the perspective of a brand new player, but I'm also looking at the concepts here, and I don't have a full 100% understanding to give you a guide on how to best utilize your resources. I'm very aware that I'm going to be doing a lot of those things incorrectly, but I guess when it comes to MMOs, this is a marathon, not a sprint. I'm coming in 3 years late to the party, and I still see hope. And I'm the type of gamer who wants to be able to keep up with the pack. So I think that Lost Ark has really been done a disservice in a way, and just in terms of people understanding the game. There's so much misinformation and kind of just regurgitation of other people's thoughts that you're going to see in gaming nowadays when it comes to consuming our content off of YouTube or Twitch or whatever it might be. And I've been having a lot of fun in this game. And that's what I mean about the perception versus your experience. So what I decided to do is just to kind of like log in, start leveling a character. I wasn't going to boost, wasn't going to spend any money, and just kind of see how my experience has gone and kind of share my thoughts on that. And I think now that the Express Pass just came out, they've made it to where you can basically just make a new character, jump right into the end game and start grinding, start experiencing a game, playing with friends. You can do that right now. So there's no better time than right now, as a matter of fact, to get into the game. But I got in a week ago and started leveling organically, which I think personally everyone should do if you want to understand the core mechanics at an intimate level. If you want to level your character and piecemeal see those skills come in, there's something very powerful about what you will gain from an understanding perspective about the mechanics of the game when you do level that way. And realistically, in about 100 hours, I was able to get to around 1,500 gear score. When you boost in, it puts you, right around there. Boosting in so much further than I got in my 100 hours of gameplay. But that 100 hours of gameplay was akin to playing a Diablo 4 story. The aesthetic of the game is great. It's excellent. I think that the diversity of the zones is probably one of the coolest things in this game. As I'm leveling up, there's a little fairy village. At some point during the game, you shrink yourself down and become, the size of one of these fairies. And the way that they change the environment by just kind of adding in small scale objects like books and glasses, things like that around the scene, to give that illusion that you are this small. I thought that was genius. Some of the things that they do with the shaders when you're doing the boss fights, particularly there was a clown fight I remember. It wasn't the aesthetic that I was a fan of, but I was certainly very appreciative of the way that they were able to achieve the style. So there's a lot of style to this game, and I think that might not be as appreciated. I don't hear a lot of ranting and raving on that note. I know we all say graphics doesn't matter, it's all about gameplay, but we all know graphics do matter, and I think these are, people in game dev are going to know, but a lot of this is a subconscious effect that it has on people. And I think just kind of bringing some awareness to that, highlighting that is interesting. Look around when you're looking at the game and just kind of look for some of those details. You're walking through a puddle and you see the reflection of your character's face in the puddle. It's pretty nice. And, when we're talking about performance and optimization and, making games look this good, they're working with a nice palette here, a nice canvas. They have Unreal, and a lot of what they are doing are using low poly models with very, very high quality textured paint, with some brilliant mixing of high quality models for your actual character model. I mean, spells and abilities look beautiful, top notch. I think if you were to try to do the same level of fidelity with that third-person view character controller game like World of Warcraft, you're going to start seeing some real performance hindrances on a lot of people's hardware. So it really has that going for it too. The game looks beautiful. And then another thing I noticed, having tried Throne and Liberty, really wanted to love the game. I went and rank 1'd some like PvE challenges, and it just, frankly, I think a lot of the problem is, us as gamers when it comes to these games. We want things to be so easy. Everyone just wants to pay to skip. I definitely don't think Lost Ark is pay to win. I haven't spent $1, and I'm loving my experience. So I think I'm winning for free. If to you winning is keeping up with the pack, you can do that for free. I will not lie to you. All of these games are going to be an upfront investment in terms of a grind to catch up. One of the things that Korean MMOs do pretty well is as the game grows in age, their catch-up mechanics are traditionally pretty good. Like I said, I'm jumping in 3 years late and feel as if I can jump in and be a part of the group that is currently moving through the game, currently progressing. So I really do think that the perception of the game did not line up with my experience at all, and I'm honestly kind of blown away by the experience. It feels like what I wanted Diablo 4 to be. This is a action RPG with a lot more content than Diablo 4. It's free, so if I want to play for a week, I can play for a week. If I want to grind hard for 3 months, I can grind hard for 3 months. Doesn't matter. The fact that it's free is also a huge selling point to me because it's easier for me to campaign my friends to come, hey, come try this game, come play this game with me. Oh, it's free, you don't have to download anything. At the end of the day, if you're having fun, that's great. And I think that the environment, the sandbox that they've created with Lost Ark is so underutilized by players. They have so many cool features in this game. I mean, the stronghold, player housing, that entire building system is just amazing. And frankly, the story, as much as I've always talked about how much I don't care about storyline in video games, I realized that the story not sucking is huge. It allows me to wade through, a sea of quests. So I'm kind of running out of my first impressions. I guess signing off here, I just want to say I'm not the source of knowledge at the current moment for in-game advice. Certainly not trying to give anyone a tutorial here. I just wanted to share my thoughts about the game. I've really been enjoying my time playing. I'm going to stick it out a little while longer, see how far I go, maybe make some more content about it. But let me know what you think. If you have been experiencing the same sort of thing that I have with Lost Ark, if you feel this resurgence, because that's sort of what it feels like to me. Thanks, guys.